Welcome to Outliers Get to Know. I'm your host, Tracey Devlyn, and I'm here with thriller author Jeff Circle to talk about his new and exciting project, MYOPIC Duplicity. Welcome to the show, Jeff.
Thanks, Tracy. It's great to see you again. I'm so glad you had me on. I love being on your show. You're the best.
Oh, well, it's great to have you back. And since the last time we talked, you've added another layer to your creative resume. We've got author, we've got podcaster, and now we have editor.
Yes, we do. Do you want me to just tell you the story right off the bat?
Well, I at first I want to hear a little bit more about you, and then we'll get into
Okay.
the anthology. So yeah, if you want to go ahead and just tell us about a little bit about you and how you got to this point in your writerly career, that'd be great.
Okay, I'm going to give the condensed version because people are busy out there. We respect your time. So thanks for listening. Tracy's a fantastic host. And so I'm going to tell you a little bit about me. Jeff Circle, I'm the creator of the Writer's Dossier, and it started out as just a website. And I wanted to tell people about these great books I was finding. And so I thought, well, I'm going to make it cool and different. And that was the try. That's what I tried to do. And I had a couple books in mind, and one of them was The Instructor by T.R. Hendricks, and the other one was Peacock and the Sparrow by I.S. Berry. I just met them at Thriller Fest and I had their books, and they were fantastic. And Tim and I go back a little bit with our military careers being at the same place. And then I left Thriller Fest, ended up back here in Ohio where I live, and I didn't have anyone to talk to about books. So I created a website called The Writer's Dossier. And I just did a little, and it wasn't a review, but it was like, hey, Tim, answer a couple funny questions. And hopefully that'll get everyone's attention. And so we did. And then I just kind of built that out, and I had 8 people, and I launched the website from there. And then everyone's like, you should do a podcast. I'm like, oh, that sounds fun. Oh my God. So start a podcast called the Writer's Dossier Podcast. It's everywhere. And I love talking to people. I love talking to you, whether it's in person or on a podcast, or anybody who's really done something. They've completed a
Creative.
book,
Yeah,
Tracy.
yeah,
That's such a wonderful thing.
it is.
So in the process of doing the dossier, I thought, hey, let's expand this to include publicists and acquisition editors and audiobook narrators. And through that, I met a guy who owns, excuse me, Leonardo Audio. And he asked me to edit an audiobook that would be issued as a Kindle and an audiobook. And eventually it'll also be in print. But I said, sure, let's edit an anthology. I have no idea what I'm doing, but I know all these great writers, and I'm so familiar with people, their material, like your material and everyone else's. And I thought, hey, I can just ask these people if they'll write me a story. And they did. And there are just amazing people, Anthony winners, Edgar winners.
Wow.
C.W. Blackwell is a 5-time Derringer Award nominee, 2-time winner. I mean, so amazing writers, great people, wonderful stories. And editing is, if I could like decapitalize edited by, because I didn't have to do a lot with these folks. They're so great. And they submitted the most wonderful stories, and so good. And they're dark and they're juicy. And we called it myopic duplicity
Yeah,
because do
great.
the ends ever justify the means? So I wanted people to come up with some stories that would make you as the reader or the listener actually kind of like the antagonist and kind of see their side of the story. And as Eli Craner said in the foreword,
Yeah.
you just never know what you're going to do when life gets its hooks in you.
Yeah, I read the forward from Eli and it was great. It was a nice setup and there's 16 stories in this anthology, is that correct?
Yes.
Yeah, 16 stories. And about how are they do you consider them short stories or do you consider them novellas? About what kind of word length are each of them kind of on average?
When I came up with a theme and the parameters and some of the things about what I was looking for in the story, and I sent it out to the folks who I wanted to contribute, I said anywhere between 8,000 words and 18,000 words. So
Okay.
a lot of them fall right there in the middle. They're perfect. A
Yeah.
couple of them are on the short end, and then a couple of them are actually on the long end. So like Erin Flanagan wrote an amazing story called Protege. It's the third one in the anthology. Hers on the audiobook ends up to be about an hour. So
Yeah.
a couple trips to work and back, and you've got a great story by an Edgar Award-winning debut novelist, one for Deer Season, Erin Flanagan. So they kind of fall a little bit into, so they're short stories, but some of them probably get close to the novella range.
And then what kind of parameter did you give them as far as how their story would tie into the anthology? Was it just that that byline that you just said as far as do the end ever justify the means, or was it more, did you provide more than that?
I provided a lot more than that. That was the central theme. I always wanted them to keep going back to that. Do the ends justify the means? And so when you think about a concept like that, you know something happened. And was it, can you justify it? And so I wanted the reader to get caught up in that. It's like, oh, wow, they did something really bad, but I kind of see where they're coming from because I told everyone, make me like that the person, or make them so interesting or make me so curious in them that I want to follow the bad guy is the main character. And in
Yeah.
most of your books, Tracy, and most everyone else's, you've got your protagonist and then you get your antagonist. And so for this, I was like, we're going to have an antagonist that everyone's going to like, and the story's going to
Yeah.
be their story. And you want to be able to identify with, wow, why they did what they did. Did the ends justify the means? And so they were off the races with that. And the writers loved it because people like writing about bad stuff, turns out.
Yeah, absolutely. It reminds me of Silence of the Lambs a little bit, right? You know?
Yes, yes. Everybody loved Anthony Hopkins. He was so amazing. He won an Oscar for that role. I mean, come on, it was amazing.
Yeah, yeah. So it's almost like an anti-hero or something like along those lines, I suppose. Were there any of the stories that really surprised you? Like just not, I'm sure you loved them all. I'm not trying to ask for favorites or anything like that, but just something that was like, wow, I just would not have expected that at all.
Oh, wow. So that's actually a two-part question because I do have some favorites, but it's not because of how surprised I was. I have favorites because they really hit what I like in stories, but what I like isn't the same as everybody else.
Right.
And
Yeah.
so I'm glad I got a great variety. But something that did kind of surprise me was a story by Mindy Carlson, who is a on again, off again co-host with me on the Writer's Dossier podcast. So people should know Mindy Carlson.
Yeah.
In fact, I have her novel right here, Her Dying Day by Mindy
Mhm.
Carlson. She wrote a short story, and I heard her read it in person in Denver when we were at Left Coast Crime this year, and it was a short story. And I talked to her afterward, and everyone who was there at the reading, there were probably like 50 people there, jaws were on the floor between a little bit of laughter and more of jaw dropping. Oh my, you're kidding. Every word, everyone was hanging on every word. So I approached her and I said, Mindy, how long is that story? And she said about 4,000 words. And I said, can you double it? Can you repeat what you did, make it twice as good, twice as big? And she said, yes. And so her story, it's called Aida, AITA, and it stands for Am I the Asshole? And it starts out great and it ends great. And that really surprised me. What surprised me about it is that she was able to double a story that was already jaw-dropping.
Hmm.
So, and
Oh,
it's a great story.
no, that's great. I love that. I love that a lot. So you said that there's not a lot that you had to do because you had such great writers, obviously. Um, for somebody who has seen anthologies on either the shelves or the virtual shelves, what have you, and you see that edited by, and it's normally a big name author, popular guy like yourself,
Not
whatever.
someone, not someone named Jeff Circle. Who's that? That
No,
big
no,
guy.
no, no. It's like, no, absolutely not. You are absolutely right there with them. I'm curious, what, what is it besides curating the authors? What else do you have to do to be, in that edited by
Sure,
area?
sure. No, I get it. You're right. The first thing was, hey, let's get Jeff Circle to do this because he knows so many people, and I go a little deeper than that. I go to conferences, I talk to
Yeah.
people in person, I introduce people together and kind of network, and I learn things that it's to my advantage because I get to hang out with you at Thriller Fest
Yeah.
or Rob Hart or and so many writers.
Mhm.
And we go out afterwards and we spend time together and we eat and drink together. And so I knew a lot of people. So that was obviously the first thing. We need somebody who can do this logistically. The second thing was, I think that I put the most time up front was curating the directions of where I wanted people to go. And I had to be really clear and I had to reinforce that. Don't I know, talk to a writer and I'm like, hey, I know you're creative and you have some ideas, but this is where I want you to go with it. You can do it, but this is to all come together as an anthology. It has to be this way. You could
Yeah.
write a great story, Tony Wirt or C.W. Blackwell, but it's got to fit because, like what you said, Tracy, when you see an anthology, there's always some theme, whether it's the great anthology that Holly West did for BoucherCon 3 years ago in San Diego, or some of the other ones that you see at BoucherCon or just other places. It's here's a theme from the Monkees, or a song from the Monkees, or here's a theme about the alligators in the South, or something that ties it all together. And I didn't have that. I had the theme of bad people doing or good people doing bad things
Yeah.
for questionable reasons. So there's that. The other piece was keeping them going, keeping them on track. And then once they started to trickle in, as far as the actual physical editing, yeah, I read through every story with an editor's eye, not a do I like it eye, because like I said, people are different. People write differently, people write different stories, and I didn't want to change that. I wanted
Yeah.
them to be themselves, but I wanted to make sure they stuck with the theme because if the people who buy this, yeah, I don't want someone going off in the left field. That story doesn't really fit. So I did that. I did a little bit of copy editing. I'm not
Mhm.
a copy editor by trade, but there are things that I wanted to thread through the whole thing.
Mhm.
And then I did do some developmental editing, which is really what I love to do. And that's something that I do with other people. And you can go to my website and contact me for that. But the developmental editing, it's the what if. And Tracy, you know this, having written so many books and published them yourself, a second eye with you work with co-writers, another eye or a what if or an idea person, and then you're like, oh, I see it, and then you are back in front of your keyboard and you're off to the races. So I did a
Yeah.
lot of that developmental editing. And lastly is this the logistic stuff with the marketing. We had a big launch thing at BoucherCon in New Orleans, so we coordinated that, all of the graphics that go along with it, and then th- I handed it over to Leonardo Audio, and they did all the audio narration, and
Yeah.
Chris Shula handled all of that. But where I think I started this in April because I was at no, I asked Rob Hart in April if he would write a story, and he said. I said, Rob, I know you're really busy doing a lot of other things right now. You're co-writing another book. You have your own series, but can you write me a short story? and and he said, I love writing short stories, and I have something that's been going around in my head. And I'm like, okay, get it out. You can give it to me. And he did. And it's Rob Hart. I mean, I
Yeah.
loved Rob Hart's work.
Mhm.
I mean, the Warehouse, the Assassins Anonymous, that whole new
I loved
series
Assassins Anonymous. That
yeah,
was
I
such a
mean, he's
great book.
so creative, he's so original, and
Yeah.
he's so honest and he's so brutally honest. I love that. It's no BS from Rob Hart. I
Mhm.
just admire that so much. So, um, yeah, it's just a lot that goes into it, but it was a lot of fun, and I do love the editing. So,
Yeah, it's so amazing to me how generous. I don't know why I say it like that because they are the thriller writers are just so generous. Whether it's doing something like this for a friend, a fellow writer, or just shout outs on social media, or like you said, introducing somebody at a conference. There's so much. love that way between the in the community, and it's really great that it's not this cutthroat business like you hear Hollywood and some of these other, yeah. So anyway, it's really nice that you feel that welcoming vibe anytime you go into these conferences and things like that. It's great.
They're wonderful. Yeah, they're absolutely so good. They're, being involved in the last 3.5 years in the conferences and meeting people, um, I'm starting to see some cracks in that between some people, and there's like this soft white
Yeah.
underbelly current. But
Mm.
no, you're right. More than the corporate background that I have, where
Mm. Yeah.
everyone's trying to get promoted over the other person. No, the writing community is so wonderful, and I adore so many people. It's like this giant group of people who I feel like I know because I've read their work, and then I follow them on social media, and when you meet them in person, that's who does that? Who gets to go to, hey, the cast of Ocean's 11 is having a
Right.
party. Everyone can come. No, but writers do that. They're having a thing in VoucherCon. Everybody can come. It's fantastic.
And I noticed on your Facebook page you've been posting these little excerpts of the audio files for each of the short stories, and you said Leonardo Audio uh, produced all of that, and I saw that he also had another one come out as well, and so it's like this kind of new venture for that company, a new venture for you, and it looked like if I think it looked like um, each of the stories had individual narrators too. It wasn't just one or two narrators doing the whole thing. They actually lined up narrators for all the stories, which has got to be a logistical issue there too.
Tracy, that's why you're so good at this. You pointed something out that I didn't even think of, and so thank you. No, you're exactly right. We have 16 stories in Myopic Duplicity, and we have 12 narrators. So
Okay.
Chris Shula did an amazing job curating the right people for the right story. And so this was built for an audiobook. So most anthologies aren't. And that's the other
Mm,
thing. That's one of the things that makes this special is Myopic Duplicity was made for audiobook, and so was the anthology that you referenced. It's called Fighting Words. It's by my good pal Scott
God.
Blackburn. Doesn't
Yeah.
live far from you, actually.
Yeah.
He's in North Carolina, and their theme was uh combat sports, things like that. So there are a lot of writers out there who have a lot of experience in maybe boxing or karate or taekwondo, things like that. And so Chris Shula at Leonardo Audio, he's the founding founder of that place.
Yeah.
He took it upon himself. Yeah, he wanted to forge ahead in this anthology arena and do a unique thing of anthologies that are built for audiobook and by stories by different audiobook narrators. Most of them are people that he's worked with in the past, and we have people like Hillary Huber, who is just epic in the
Amazing.
narrator world, and I'm starting to feature all of the narrators for Myopic Duplicity on the writersdossier.com to give everyone a chance to get to know them and get to know their work. And when you listen to one of these stories and you're like, that person was really good, you go find them and then go find the rest of their work too. Because Hillary Huber, Suzanne Elise Freeman is in there, Matt Godfrey's in there, just so many really good narrators.
Yeah.
Yeah, Chris insisted that this be done right, and that's why the launch was in September at the BoucherCon, but the audiobook just came out last week, and holy cow! My Facebook, like you said, I mean, it's kind of blowing up with people saying, complaining, my earbuds died. I'm so upset. I don't know what happens next. And then I'm getting commentary of, hey, I'm on this story. Hey, I'm on this story. So yeah, it's
Yeah.
it's it's so fun. I'm so excited.
Oh, that's great. That's great. I'm happy for it. Sounds like it's and I think you I read that you even wrote like these little introductions to each story too. It's like a little teaser, and that seemed like that would be a lot of fun to write a teaser for each of the stories.
It was, and Chris narrated each one. So at the beginning of each story, there is a 2 or 3 sentence, maybe 4 or 5 sentence. It's not a synopsis, but
Yeah.
it's a teaser that kind of talks about the topic, but doesn't talk about the story, but how it might apply to your life or how you might see it. And Chris did a great job narrating each one of those, and that was fun for me because I got to put my little stamp on each one, which meant a lot because I ended up being so close to all the stories,
Yeah.
reading them over and over and over, over and over and over again.
That's great. All right. Well, before we go, can you tell us what's up next for you? Are you going to be doing any other fun projects like this?
Yeah, yes. Like I said, Chris Hewlett at Leonardo Audio wants to expand his list into the audiobook anthology arena. So there may be some more coming down the road that I could be involved in. We have a couple themes we're bouncing around, so that's a possibility. I'm writing a book right now. I think we talked about this before with a New York Times bestselling author named Jerome Preisler, wrote in the Tom Clancy universe. We are about halfway done with a really cool book. Excited about that, and I'm actually supposed to have a call with him today. So we're moving forward on that. I have my own series that I'm working on getting someone to buy, calling Andrews Wilson. Andrews Wilson, are you out there?
I
Um,
know. AWE, hello.
AWE, hello, I'm right here. So yeah, doing a lot of that stuff, and I'm still doing the dossier. I love doing interviews. I love talking to people and getting their perspective and things. So I'm doing a lot of everything as much as I can, just because I love it.
Yeah, yeah, busy guy, but I can't wait to see if you do any more in this anthology area, and I can't wait to see this new book that you're working on. I know it's going to be a little while, but I hope to have you back on the show whenever that gets on the shelves. That'll be a lot of fun too.
Well, you will be my first call then.
All right, great. I'm gonna hold you to it.
All right,
All
not a
righty,
problem.
folks. Well, when this episode airs, Myopic Duplicity, the anthology, will be out. So, or it is out, actually. It's all out there. The audiobook, everything, it's out there. So go grab your copy today. You can check out Jeff's website. As he said, it's jeffcircle.com, or you have, is it writersdossier.com as well?
TheWritersDossier.com.
The
Yep.
writers. Okay, great, great, great. All right,
And
Jeff,
people
what's
should
so
go to TraceyDevlyn.com too. But anyways.
Nobody wants to hear about Trey. They want to hear about Jeff. Jeff. What social media are you mostly active on?
I'm mostly active on Facebook because that's where I have 5,000 followers.
Yeah.
So no, but
Okay.
I am on Facebook, Instagram, X, Blue Sky. I have an account on Threads, but it's weird the way everything just kind of interconnects now.
Yeah.
Uh, Facebook is big, but yeah, anything will do. LinkedIn,
Okay.
YouTube.
You're
I
in
put
all
all
the
my
places.
videos. Yeah,
Just
I
go to
put.
all of them.
I haven't done the TikTok though. I haven't joined the kids on the TikTok.
I haven't
But
either. And everybody's so surprised by that because do the podcast, you think it'd be a natural fit, but I like featuring other people, not myself.
true,
Uh,
true.
well, thanks a ton, Jeff. Congratulations on this new venture, and I hope readers are just going to flock to get their copy.
Me too. Thanks, Tracy. It's so great to see you.
You betcha. Many thanks to everyone listening. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. I'll be back soon with another great read.
Bye, buddy.